The media can't seem to get enough of Texas Democrat Beto O'Rourke.
Thank you all.
You're a rock star.
No, there's just so many great
really
people who are.
You can't go anywhere without getting.
Hey!
He's a rock star, and many young voters in his state agree, but when you ask them what his record of accomplishment is, you'll get a lot of this.
Are there any accomplishments in his career that you can point to that would make him a good person for office?
I am not aware of a lot of specific accomplishments that he has made.
Are there any accomplishments of Beto's that you would point to?
I don't know any, so I can't say anything.
Are there any accomplishments of Beto O'Rourke you can point to?
No, I haven't. I haven't heard anything.
Here with more is the man behind that video, Campus Reform's Cabot Phillips. Cabot, they cannot list his accomplishments, but they're going to vote for him.
And these people were very enthusiastic about their support of him as well. Many of them had Beto O'Rourke stickers and pins on their backpack. And I think a lot of this is proof of what happens when you go through life never having your point of view challenged. So many of these young students, they go to campus, they're told by their professors, administrators, by celebrities, social media, you have to be a Democrat. So a lot of these students, they just fall in line with supporting Democrat candidates. They put on the front, they say, yeah, I'm excited about this, because they see what happens to anyone that dares to support a conservative or Republican candidate who's young. And so that peer pressure leads them to support candidates they know very little about. And it's sad because their vote counts just as much as everyone else's vote. That's an important fact to remember when you start to laugh at this kind of thing.
Absolutely, Cabot. So you went down to Texas A&M, and here are some very strident Beto O'Rourke supporters who intend to vote for him, but then when you ask some questions, watch.
You may not have any experience, but you can be as informed about a position without actually doing it.
Beto, I think, resonates with young people because we are more aware.
Like, honestly, getting his name out there. For not doing much, it sounds like he's really...
But it's just being popular an accomplishment.
I'm not as educated as I would like to be.
What do you make of that?
Well, I've been to over 100 college campuses with the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform, and they all have one thing in common, and that is this overwhelming pressure to be on the left. And I think that young conservative college students are far more informed than their liberal counterparts, and I'll tell you why. When you go to college, you don't accidentally become a Republican. There is an overwhelming pressure to become a Democrat to support the left. And so if you are on the right, you're constantly having to arm yourself with facts, with reasoning, because everyone's against you for the most part. You're always having to defend yourself. That makes conservative students more informed. On the left, though, when people aren't challenging you, you can get through life saying, I support this, without ever having to defend it. And that's why I think you see so many more informed conservative students than you do on the left. Now, the problem is actually getting a fair shakedown. It's not coming in class, and that's why I think it's important to get both ideas in class on campus so students don't have this happen where they're so uninformed.
Absolutely. You would think that college would be the one place that you could get both sides so that you can form a foundation, but not so much anymore. You mentioned the informed supporters. Ted Cruz has some, and you talked to them as well. Watch this.
Unless you count going to jail for DWI an accomplishment, then no.
Shots fired.
I'm leaning towards Ted Cruz, most definitely. I really think that he supports family, and I think that's something that's a very important Texas value.
What things about Cruz are you a fan of?
He stands for freedom.
Well, there you go. They actually had things to say.
Yeah, and there were other students listing off his support of the Second Amendment, listing off some bills he had sponsored. And again, I think there were, even in Texas, there were some young Cruz supporters that they poked their head, they looked around to make sure that people weren't listening, and then they said, well, you know, I do support Ted Cruz, and I think that it's dangerous. And a lot of the left, their rhetoric is about feelings. So a lot of the students said, I like Beto, he makes me feel good, and I think that's the message of the left, more feelings than facts, and it's all that rhetoric, and I think that's why you see what we see.
Well, let's see what happens right now. Ted Cruz is leading in the polls, and the president is heading down there to have a big rally tonight in his support. Cabot Phillips, media director, campusreform.org. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
You bet. All right. Meanwhile, the president promising an early Christmas present, tax cuts 2.0.